Hello and welcome back to another video of Charts with Cart. And in this video today, we are going to focus on traditional markets, the S&P and the Qs. I'm going to show you where I think we are heading, what I am doing, and what can we expect to see. Have we bottomed in this brutal crash that we've experienced? Now, I just want to talk about a couple of things before we get right into the charts. One is that I have a free major trade alert on the Patreon available to anyone. You don't have to pay for it. So if you head over there, you will see it. I've been buying this stock heavy. I think it has bottomed, but if it hasn't, then I'm going to add more. And it's absolutely free. Go check it out. It's on the Patreon. The second thing, the sentiment right now is really, really bad. Most of what I'm seeing everywhere is people anticipating much lower prices. But let's all remember the bottom of the bear market. What did people think we were going to do? Head lower. So the people that were screaming head lower, the majority of people, because everyone was selling, if you're looking at the RSI, we were incredibly oversold. That means most people were selling. They were in fact wrong. So now let's take that knowledge and apply it to the charts we're seeing today. So we're looking at the SPY right now, trading at 533. And our RSI on the daily chart headed down almost to oversold levels. The last time we headed into oversold levels or got this low, we were very close to oversold right here. And this was quite literally the bottom of this correction right here. Let's look at the MACD. So we're this low on the MACD. The last time we were this low on the MACD, quite literally over here, it was also one of the best times to buy. Now, is this going to be the best time to buy? Who knows? Who knows? But I've been buying. I have been buying. So we came back. We broke this trend line right here. We broke this ascending trend line and headed straight to this demand zone down here, which I anticipated a bounce. So I'm expecting us to move back into this trend line. So expect resistance at around 550 on the SPY. That's where I think we're heading, back to retest this once support and now resistance. And we have to be careful at this level. I'll explain why in a second. But yeah, I think we have reversed, and I think we have backings for this reversal as per the volume shift that came in really heavy right here. So always good to see a reversal start on high volume. All right, so we're now looking at the weekly chart of the SPY. And if you zoom in, I have this kind of wave count here. Now, here's the kicker. Have we just seen the bottom of the 4, or are we still in the 4? So essentially, we have either seen this move down as being an A. We're going to see a move up to that trend line I was talking about on the daily chart, and then we'll flush out more in a bigger C wave, or the 4 has bottomed already. But given the facts we know about how oversold on the daily chart we are on the RSI and the MACD, and if you look at price action, we're straight up oversold, or we're at those oversold levels. Regardless, I'm expecting a bounce right now to that daily chart resistance at around 550. What we do there, who knows? But I want to show you something real quick. All right, so what we're looking at right now is the VIX. This is the weekly VIX chart, and you can see we spiked last week at a high of 65 right here. The last time we got this high, let's zoom out. Quite literally, the world was shutting down. This was COVID back here when we got this high before. So that's insane. And if you look, when we spiked, 2 days after we made the top on the VIX was the best time to buy, was the bottom in 2020. That was the best time to buy. It was the bottom in 2020. And then we hadn't have been this high since like 2008. So absolutely ridiculous stuff here. We are very high on the VIX. All right, so we're back on the weekly chart of the SPY. I want to make it crystal clear. I have bought as if the bottom is in. Now, is the bottom in definitively? No, nobody is sure. Am I believing the bottom is in? I would give higher probabilities because of the RSI, because of the MACD on the daily chart, and because of the VIX that, yeah, the bottom is in. However, there is that alternative scenario where the move down we've seen is just the A wave move down, and that we're going to see a B wave up to daily chart resistance, and then a C wave yet to come back down and take out the lows we've made this week. That's a possibility, but I have been buying like the lows are in. Long story short, I have a longer mindset here, and I do eventually think we're going to head up to this channel top on the SPY over 600. So over 600 in 2025 is where I think we will top before we see a much bigger move down. So because I want to make it crystal clear, this is the absolute last thing on the SPY. This wave down could have been an A or the bottom of 4. We're not sure yet, but I'm buying as if this was the bottom of 4 because of the factors I've shown you already. Now, one of two things is going to happen here. We either bounce correctively and then we take out the lows, and in that scenario this would be a B, C, and that's okay. Then we'd get a second big buying opportunity. Or the alternative is that we're going to bounce impulsively, get a small correction, and then rip through this trend line right here. So those are our two scenarios. I am buying like the low is in because look, zoom out, we're in an uptrend, and I just think it is the smart thing for me to be doing at this point in time. All right, so here is the QQQ chart. Now the price action might look a little different than the SPY. However, the situation remains very similar. We're very low on the MACD. If you look down here on the daily chart, we're almost in oversold situation on the RSI. And I think we've bottomed here, but once again, this could just be an A wave, B wave up here, C wave down here, or even down here. Doesn't matter to me. I'm buying like the bottom is in. We're on support. We're on big time support if you look down here. So we were anticipating a bounce, hence why I bought into the market here. And we're gonna see resistance. So we're trading at 450 right now. Our next major resistance on the QQQ is this level right in here at around 474. So we have to watch price action, what that's like at 474, because 474 is the barrier between us heading to the top of the channel and then probably eventually breaking out, or us heading right back down here in a bigger C wave. That is possible. So just like the SPY, I am buying stocks heavy in the NASDAQ like it's the bottom. However, if it's not, we're going to get a second buying opportunity very soon, and that should be taken advantage of. Crashes in the stock market should not be feared, they should be expected. So what we've seen is your run-of-the-mill crash. The world isn't shutting down, and we've almost seen the amount of volatility that we've seen during COVID when the world was quite literally shutting down. So that is my reason for buying down at these levels down here, because everyone seems to be thinking we're going further down. I don't see it. So we're going to finish this video off on the QQQ weekly chart. If you zoom in to the top of the channel, I highlighted this formation up here in my previous video, saying that this formation could start the next cascade of selling, and it sure did. So if you watched that video, you'd probably be pretty thankful. So in total, we saw about a 16% drawdown, and already last week we saw about a 6% bounce. But that means we're still roughly 10% off the highs. I do think we'll be back at the top of the channel, whether we see another low or we don't. I do think we're going to be at the top of the channel again regardless, and I do eventually think we might break it. But that is still to be determined. We'll have to watch and see, but make no mistake, once momentum starts coming back into the chart, then things should get interesting, and you should be looking for prices to continue upwards. All right, that's all I got. Have a good week.
Limited edition, nearly 20 cheap and fit. Everybody can come on me. Vatican a big meat of cheese chargy. Women getting a girl chop on me. Hey boy, me someone when nothing can.